It's homecoming in Sleepy Hollow, and we learn that when ICHABOD CRANE took the Headless Horseman to Purgatory Prom, they might have commingled a little bit more with mixing those fluids than we thought. Welcome to Sleepy Hollow. We're talking homecoming.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome to the after show for Sleepy Hollow. We are talking season 4, episode, what is it?
6.
6? Yeah, it is 6. Oh my god, we are 6 episodes in, and we've actually had a complete storyline.
Yes. And we have 3 in a row. That is a streak. 3 good episodes.
3 good episodes in a row, guys.
Yep.
First of all, of course, you can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, STPHENLAMIEUX, and joined, as always, by the amazing Michael Young.
Hey guys, what's up? You can find me all over the internet at OneYoungsta, which is ONEYOUNGSTA.
Except on Vine. You can't find him on Vine anymore.
No, I'm not on Vine. Can't find me there.
So don't say all over the internet.
Well, you can find me in most places besides places like
Which
Friendster,
specific websites?
Vine, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
I couldn't find you on MySpace the other day.
Yeah. MySpace is just, my deal fell through.
There was like a background with daggers falling and like 8 songs started playing. I did notice that I'm not in your top 8.
Remember those days?
You son of a bitch. You're
forgot.
in my top 8. What the fuck?
You're in my 10, and I'm gonna put you right back in there.
Okay, well now I'm gonna be upset when I go to Purgatory Prom next year.
Oh yeah.
Because we're talking about Homecoming, which was the 3rd good episode in season 4.
Yes.
We are back on track.
Back on track.
To having characters that we actually give a crap about. Mm-hmm. The Egyptian Anubis/Sphinx thing was really weird, but I can look over that.
Yeah, because the overall story brought it together. So it was, Anubis was kind of like the Anubis guy was kind of like just a plot device to get these guys to work together and iron out some of their emotional characteristics or whatever to become stronger.
I would have done this in a completely different way, though.
Okay.
In terms of the monster, because right now, like, I really like it when they tie in historical figures to the monsters. Mm-hmm. I really would have liked it if this was like some colonial Robin Hood who just would like rob from the rich and like apparently stole that piece of the stone from Washington's people and like just had a treasure trove that he was guarding after death.
Okay,
that would have been cool. But you know what? Like, honestly,
then there would have been more in there than just the stone.
More history, yeah. Because the Sphinx thing didn't really make sense at all. That was if I had to make one complaint about the episode, it would be that having an Egyptian treasure guardian like is just so far out of left field. It's cool, but like it's kind of just like
it's cool. A cool character design, but it's like
they watched The Mummy and were like, oh, dude, I want to bring these into Sleepy Hollow. Well, how? Well, let's put a random fucking coffin on the top of this building that nobody decides to excavate.
How did they not see the magic waves like hitting the building when they were like walking around with the stick? I'm like, don't you see like the magic waves like boom, 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 boom?
I don't think they could see those. I think that was just like
it was just for us to know.
For us to see.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's just if like you take a town that's been around for centuries, that everyone like knows has historical significance, and then there's like a random stone coffin on one of those buildings. You would
nobody asks the question.
Nobody like thinks, let's open this and figure out who it is.
Like you think the HVAC guys would be up there, installing stuff and putting up a new, unit and be like, hey, I don't know if you know, but there's a stone coffin over here. Do you want us to remove it or do you even know about it?
No, just leave it there. We got this letter from like 200 years ago that says to leave it there.
Yeah, so we're gonna leave it there.
Yeah, that's actually it's actually our router. It's our mystical router. It provides internet to the entire Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, all of the people getting the free supernatural internet.
Another thing that I just have to point out that was just so ridiculous was the dowel rod. It's like, Jenny, you're so lucky to have come across this dowel rod that can find mystical artifacts really easily. I'm like,
it worked. It worked a little fast. It worked a little fast. I would have liked it to take a little longer because it worked. It worked very fast.
Yeah.
I was like, we need our team to face a little more adversity. But I was able, like I said, when you have a good episode overall, you're like, okay, I'll let it slide.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
But it
they're
would have
doing
been nice.
they're doing stuff that like gets glossed over because they're moving through these stories so fast.
Yeah.
Which is beneficial to the show.
Yeah.
The fact that we are 6 episodes in, and we've actually established the Philosopher's Stone. We've put it together. We've also tied it in with the original story of season 1, which was really cool. That was a really good reveal.
Yeah, I thought that was. I like the fact that we learned more that we didn't already know, that even Ichabod didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
So we learned that the Philosopher's Stone was actually used by Washington to weaken the Headless Horseman and have Ichabod and the Headless Horseman attack each other and kill each other over the stone. So their blood's mixed, and I think that was the thing, was to get rid of the Headless Horseman.
Yeah. I think he knew, like, hey, this is one of my, like, best fighters, plus I know he's a witness. He can take him, and he'll be weak standing over the stone. So this is, this is a win for everybody. And maybe he didn't think that, he would end up waking up 200 and some change years later and like, man, what is it, 2013?
What is it with characters in the show being locked underground and then burst open from the ground?
Yeah, there is a lot of like, man, I was buried alive, sort of, and I'm back.
Like, everything is underground. Like, Jenny always has, like, a random metal thing she can open up and go underground. Yeah. There's always, like, tunnels underground. There's always somebody buried underground that can open the underground.
Yeah, I guess maybe back in the days, that was the best place or the best way to kind of, like, travel without being seen and kind of hide things from the enemy camp.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's just what they have to use, unfortunately, or fortunately.
So let's break it down real quick. We find out that Dreyfuss is looking for Job. He goes out into what seems like Kansas because a tornado comes out of nowhere to sweep things away. Wizard of Oz reference. Sorry, guys.
Yes, but it's true. It was empty.
He uses a blood right to find where Job was.
Yeah,
which is cool that we learned that Job promised as part of the contract to be by his side until the end of the contract, and it seems like Job and him have this agreement where
because we learned a lot more about Job too.
Yeah, because Job isn't the one who made the contract.
No,
Job is just a demon, and he made the contract.
And it seems like Job is not, I guess, against him breaking the contract or trying to break the contract. Because remember last week I was like, oh, well, maybe what's going to happen, he's going to bring the stone together, and then Job's going to be like, oh, you tricked me, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it seems like Job has known all this time that you plan to live forever and break this contract.
The interesting thing is, I think, though, is that Job really didn't want to go back to hell.
Okay.
If Dreyfuss succeeds in finding a loophole, Job gets to stay by his side for eternity as well. So Job gets to.
So I don't have to go back to hell.
Job gets to have his own Lucifer series on Fox too. Apparently, So
he gets to live the high life with the DC elite. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, it's an interesting thing that he might be incentivized to have him break the contract in that way. So they get back together. Meanwhile, Ichabod and them are like, okay, let's find this last piece in Sleepy Hollow. Mm-hmm. The weirdest thing to me was that while they're going around with the dowel rod and they're like looking for stuff, I'm like, there's nobody around. There's nobody just looking at them like, what the freaking hell are these people doing out here?
My wife said, she was like, where are the regular people? And I was like, I don't know, it's a small town. Yeah. She said, but is it that small? I was like, well, maybe they're at work. I was like, it's the middle of the day.
It's like a town that's besieged by World of Warcraft addiction. Nobody leaves their rooms when they're not working.
Maybe it was, maybe 2 p.m. and everybody was still at work and, but there weren't any other cars in the parking lot or anything. It was just...
No, it was deserted. The whole town's deserted. Oh, Abby's dead. Everybody move out.
They're like, okay, we're gone.
Yeah, right. So they find out that the archer's there, which is cool. He's got his arrows that disintegrate stuff. They have to come up with a plan to get the stone out of the mausoleum of sorts.
Yeah.
So okay, well, let's have a top team and a bottom team. Top team will distract him while the bottom team goes in and gets the piece of it. So they do that. We get the scene between Jenny, Alex, and
Jake,
where Jenny's trying to tell them no, and they finally confront her like, look, we know what we're doing.
Yeah, we
and
can
even though
handle
we're
this.
not the best at it, like, we're adults, we can make our own choices. And Jenny's like, okay, well, yeah, I've been keeping you guys back because basically my boyfriend turned into a werewolf and then I had to shoot him in the head. So, yeah, it makes sense that I'd be trying to avoid people being around so they can die. So, you know, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Character development. Maybe that can lead to Jenny and Jake being closer. Again, this episode made me like Alex a lot more, too. And then, meanwhile, you have Diane with Ichabod in the tunnels going into this grave site, and with a very futuristic door opening and like metal hinge, whatever.
It didn't look like rusted or
No,
old
it's
or
just
anything.
like-
It stayed. Maybe they had like, you know, this guy come in and dust it off every now and then, like once a week, clean it up, shine it, and you know, get out of there. So.
Right. So they go in, they find it, and then it closes on them once they kill the archer. They kill Anubis Archer, and then Ichabod's trapped in there, and then Job's like, yo, what up? Smoke!
It's funny,
Smoke!
even without Job, when the door opened and the stone was in there by itself, I was like, okay, hold on. None of us, maybe not Ichabod, but Diane, have you not seen any of the Indiana Jones?
Right.
Let's be very careful before we go in. Let's, you know, look around and see, and like maybe do
Look
like the
around,
bag
look around.
switch. Yeah, do the bag switch or like something, because he just walked in there like,
How
let me-
lucky I am to be alive right now. Oh, wait, the door's shut. Now I'm going to die.
yeah, it's like, I was like, let's be careful before we just grab this thing, because
I just think it's funny that Job's just like, yo, what up?
He's like,
that's
hey.
mine now, and poof,
He's
and
like,
poof.
thanks for getting rid of that guard upstairs. He was really a pain. Let's get out of here. Like,
You killed God number 3, and now my revenge is here. I did it. So they bring him back, and it shows Ichabod like with his hands bound on top of the Philosopher's Stone. In the original place where it was, and it's kind of cool. Dreyfuss has the champagne. It's like popping bottles. Yo, what up?
he's
Look,
like extremely happy. He's like, I won.
you realize this is going to kill everyone in Sleepy Hollow, men, women, and child. How are you going to live with that? And it's like,
He's
dude,
like, "There's
he's
nobody
literally
here."
got a demon butler next to him. Are you really
Yeah.
going to talk to him about like lives? Come on, like
Yeah.
come on.
He's like, I'm not worrying about that.
I mean, here's the real question, Mike. Keeping it 100%.
Yes.
If somebody said right now, we could make you immortal,
Okay.
unless you wanted to die, like you could like choose to die if you wanted to. We can make you immortal, but everyone within a 15-mile radius of here would die.
All right. Also, you guys in the chat, I'd like to hear your info too. But I don't know, man. I had to say no, because I'm sure it's a lot of people. You know, there's probably a lot of good people. Now, say if you were to pack in the 15-mile radius with like nothing but like everybody that's on their like last year of death row, then I'd be like, hey.
All right, let's not even do 15-mile radius because we're in LA right now, and that's like millions of people.
There's like
Let's say Sleepy
5.
Hollow, 15,000 people. Let's
Okay,
say 15,000 people for you to be an immortal.
Look, okay, hey guys, I loved Highlander, so 15,000 people is not a lot. I mean, you know, I get a cool sword, then I get the Queen song and stuff, and then I just travel around and, you know, fight evil. Even though I'm sort of evil, because I like started off on the evil tip, but spin the, you know, Blade of the Immortal, all those other stories, I'll live those out and I'll be okay. So I'd say I'd have to take it.
I mean, it's a hard question to say no to because you're just like, you know, like
I could do so much cool stuff.
if you look at history, you're like 15,000 people, like
it's not,
like you could probably do more for humanity being alive for several thousand years and save
Yeah.
more lives than that. But at the same time, like you are directly responsible for 15,000 deaths.
That's a lot. Yeah, there's 15,000. I think I'd still have to take the deal.
Yeah, we're assholes here. We would totally fucking do it.
I'd take the deal.
Tell us what you guys think in the comments below. Would you take the deal? That's the deal. You hit one button, you are
Oh,
immortal, and you can
man.
choose when you die for the lives of 15,000
Amy
people.
Gonzalez says still no. That makes you evil.
Well,
Yes, it does, but I can spend my time making sure that I do 15,000 rights, similar to like Blade of the Immortal. If you read like manga or anything like that, I can do things like that, and you know I can turn things around. I can help out.
You gonna tell that to the families of all the security guards that are 3 days from retirement?
3 days from retirement. Yeah, like give me 15,000 security guards that are like 3 days from retirement.
You like make the deal, but you realize that within 20 square miles, you're surrounded by orphanages.
Oh man.
3 hospitals.
It's nothing
children's
but like
hospitals. Michael
yeah,
Young.
it's orphanages, children's hospitals, and like
puppy farms.
And like puppy farms. Yeah, like nothing but it's like pet shelters, but nothing but the cutest kittens and puppies in there. Nothing like no old dogs or anything. Just like the cutest puppies and kittens, chock full. And I'm like, I'll still take the deal.
Oh damn! No, that's the thing is okay.
I'll probably still take it.
So here's so they rescue Ichabod because somehow Dreyfuss can just talk to the Headless Horseman like he's a brother. I'm like, what is going on? Why is he listening to what this guy is saying?
I was expecting some resistance, but he just kind of walked up and was like, "Here's my hand." You know.
I mean, was it because
didn't seem
Job was
threatened.
there, and because the Headless Horseman is supposed to be associated with death and Satan?
Maybe, yeah, maybe there was a spell that we, off camera or something, but he did seem very willing for this, I guess.
Thing to happen.
Yeah, this little, I guess, setup to make a partner, maybe?
So they cut the hands, the blood mixes and intermingles, and then we see one guy passed out outside of the place when they're running away. And I'm like, okay, so here's the thing. He eats the green goo.
Yeah.
The Ziz, if you follow our other after shows. And he eats it, and then we were all assuming, okay, he's probably going to survive this blast because they put down C4, and instead of putting a bullet in his head, they decide to, like, leave him there because they just think, okay, and it is pretty savage that they just put C4 around this guy, walk away, and blow it.
Like, they just left him there. They're like, look, you need to get out of here. And they're like, ah, well. And
It's
just
like,
left.
all right, Charlie Sheen, goodbye.
Because at first I thought she was going to immediately either shoot him or arrest him. I thought they were immediately going to do that. And I was kind of like surprised that she didn't. I thought they were immediately going to come in, slap the cuffs on him, take him out. And he wouldn't get a chance at immortality. But they left him, which was a bad idea. But when you think of someone weaselly like Dreyfuss, him living forever, is it really gonna... He's kind of weaselly. I mean, he's not like a warlock. He doesn't really have power. I mean, he does.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. It's like, I was just like, maybe it's not a bad deal.
My question is everyone in Sleepy Hollow dead now? Because, like, they did the spell. He said that the amount of energy would kill every man, woman, and child in Sleepy Hollow. But then we see one passed out guy, maybe dead. And now we see that he is immortal. So my question is, did everyone in Sleepy Hollow die, or does he just not have fully immortal powers?
And then why didn't the team that blew up the Philosopher's Stone count as people in Sleepy Hollow?
They were in the eye of the storm.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Excuse me.
I did like that Jenny brought back that lantern from season 2.
Yeah.
That was
cool.
like stuck in the warehouse when they went in to break in to find something else. They found that lantern, which was just sitting there, which was literally probably just a prop. But they're like, screw it, let's bring it back.
We can, put some lore behind this.
Yeah, I'm down.
And when she finished sucking him into the lantern, to myself, the only thing I could think is, the light is green, trap is clean. That's the only thing.
Ghostbusters. We should have opened with Ghostbusters.
I couldn't. That's the only thing on my mind when I saw that. But it was cool to see that he's trapped in there. Maybe that'll lead somewhere. Who knows? But I did, overall, it was solid. It was real solid. And I did like the team interaction a lot better. They're getting stronger.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of Sleepy Hollow and you haven't watched from the beginning of this season, I'd say start at episode 4 and 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, but you want to understand the the whole Molly thing if you do. Just get through the first few episodes.
Power through the first 3.
Yeah. Because they weren't, the third one wasn't terrible. It was just kind of eh.
Yeah.
And the first 2, like the freaking...
They were tough. They were real tough.
John Wilkes Booth, like, are you serious? So... Yeah, that's what's going on, and then we find out at the end that he got impaled, and then he takes it out, and he's healed. So here's the thing, right? He has succeeded. This is what I want to know. He succeeded in his loophole.
Yes.
So, like, if I was Dreyfuss at that moment, I'd be like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I got what I wanted. I'm immortal. I'm gonna lay low and just be me. I'm gonna do me.
Yeah,
I already got my weasel out of the contract, so I'm good. I'm immortal. I can't get hurt anymore. How about I just do me?
Yeah,
but like, what I worry about is that now it's gonna be like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to go after Ichabod now, and I'm like, that doesn't make a damn bit of sense.
That would be cool to see him just kind of like
fade off into obscurity and then pop up later.
Yeah, go back. Maybe we see him again in season 5 or something like that. But he just kind of like goes back to being a businessman.
I think it'd be interesting if he runs for president. If we get a storyline where Ichabod sees him running for president.
We've already said he's like Lex Luthor. So you have the Luthor presidency, you have the Dreyfuss presidency. So it's that would be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be to see him run for it and see maybe, like how the team would react. Would they try to stop him, or would they just kind of like let that slide?
Also, how did the Headless Horseman get out of J Street?
Yeah, well, they did go to meet him, so I'm assuming they let him out when they went to meet him. But that's also kind of like off-camera stuff that we would like to see.
So here's my. We're not going to get completely into predictions, but here's my prediction for how this season ends.
Okay.
So while we're dealing with Molly for probably the next 2 episodes and really developing her as the witness, Dreyfuss is going to pop up in 3 episodes, which will be episode 9, as somebody running for presidency. And he'll be campaigning, and in the end of in episode 13, it'll do a time jump and he'll have won, and then the Headless Horseman from episode 1, whose original mission was to kill the president, is going to come and kill Dreyfuss.
Wow.
Killed by her own mission you sent him out to do.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. And then you'd get the vice presidency of whoever he ran with.
And then you have Kiefer Sutherland as the designated survivor.
Yep.
And
he comes in.
Worlds collide, Sleepy Hollow ends, and it's
Taken
a brilliant ending, and Jenny is happy.
Everybody's happy.
Except Abby.
Yeah.
They did show the scene where Ichabod was going to her grave. They would not show her gravestone. So that's the thing, was Ichabod at Katrina's grave?
Well, did it? I thought it did show her her name on it.
Did it?
It showed let us know in the chat, but I'm pretty sure that they said like she bore witness or something like that.
Okay, because I couldn't see it on what I was watching.
Sissification says Dreyfuss will go free Job, because who is he without Job? The only thing is, he would have to go through Jenny, and Dreyfuss can be as immortal as he wants to be, but he is nowhere near Jenny's game. Like, Jenny is a scrappy fighter. He would have to, I mean, unless, he has, like, the money for the armies to, like, kind of go in there and sneak, swat it, and, kind of steal it from him. But Dreyfuss is still kind of a weaselly guy. Like, he's just immortal now, but
I think they're going to have to kill him on the Philosopher's Stone. I think they're going to have to lure him back to where it is, or they're going to move it without his knowledge and then lure him into that position.
Yeah, but with those fragments, I mean, as much C4 as they put out there, you would never be able to find the Philosopher's Stone again.
Yeah, hypothetically.
Unless the Philosopher's Stone is imbued with magical powers, which it doesn't blow up like that or something. And
the other thing I see happening is him getting cut into pieces and, like, living while still...
Yeah, because I was expecting to see that at the end of the episode. Like, just his head, like, off in the middle of the woods, like, screaming. But I was like, maybe that's a little much for network TV.
I mean, that would have been pretty cool, his head off in the middle of the woods screaming, and the Headless Horseman comes around and picks it up and Dreyfuss' head on the Headless Horseman's body.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Or, like him just, like, stuck there for who knows how long.
The Headless Programmer.
He's like,
I'm using Linux!
I'm going to send a DDoS attack.
He, like, hits a code. He's like, I'm going to type in this code. Ichabod, you're dead now. Ha! Mandark.
But I would love to see kind of, because I thought that we were going to, kind of be done with Dreyfuss and then maybe see him in like episode 12 or something, maybe lost out in the woods, you know, missing a leg or something, because that explosion, like, it does leave you immortal, but it doesn't say that you're impervious.
So you're thinking they could have left breadcrumbs, so basically the end of this season, the cliffhanger was that he survived the explosion.
Yeah, he survived, and like, what part does he play in the future?
And the real question is if you cut his hand off, does it grow back like a little baby doll hand? Like Deadpool.
Like Deadpool. And if it does grow back like a baby doll hand, what is his decision to do with it? All right.
Homecoming!
That's right. Purgatory Homecoming.
Purgatory Homecoming.
Right to your town of
We almost
Zero.
convinced Jackie Brasky to come on today, but she would
really?
not. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I told her because it was the next dance after Purgatory Prom, she had to, and we were doing it at a different time today, so she still would not do it though.
1, 2, 3, Jackie B, what's up? You gotta come and do at least do
At least an episode. At least do Sleepington Abbey with us.
Yeah, we gotta get everybody for the Sleepington Abbey at least one good full crew Sleepington Abbey.
What you guys need to do right now is, aside from going to iTunes and rating, commenting, let's confuse the hell out of Zach and Jackie by tweeting at that Zach Wilson and 123 Jackie _B and tweeting at them and saying, thank you so much for coming back on to Sleepy Hollow's after show. Just send a bunch of tweets that are like, oh my god, it was great having you guys back on. We're so excited you're back. Even though
hilarious.
they are not back, confuse them. Because it's hilarious to watch the reaction.
Next week, we'll let them know that, hey, yes, of course you're back on. Come on. And then, you know, maybe we'll get an episode.
Maybe we'll get cardboard cutouts, you know? Who knows? Like,
you know?
We have money to blow. Not really, but, you know, why not? I feel like I'm forgetting things. Diana Thomas seems like she's coming more to grips with Molly being the witness.
And I like her more like this now.
Yeah.
I like the, I guess, regular Thomas and not the I guess, just not believing anything.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't believe a word that comes out of like Ichabod's mouth. Now she's, I guess, normal, even though to us it's normal because we watched the show, but in real life maybe you wouldn't act like this. But it's nice to see her, you know, just opening up to it. And, you know, she's very cordial with Ichabod. They're talking about slushies and Slurpees and Slim Jims, which are, you know, amazing. But, you know, they were talking about how they're made and, you know, the slushies and all that. They have a better rapport now.
I also think that it was an interesting storyline to do with Washington, because Ichabod's relationship with Washington and Diane telling him that he's a good soldier and all that.
Yeah.
If you think about it, everything so far has been Ichabod's decisions were kind of based on what would Washington want me to do? What would Washington want me to do? And I think we can start seeing him become his own person and make decisions that are outside of what maybe Washington would have wanted, or maybe outside of what the American government would have wanted, more with what does Ichabod want? Because now he's seen that, like, okay, I was sacrificed. Yeah. And that was messed up. It let us win the war, but, you know, like, this whole time I've been such a good soldier without thinking of, like, okay, do the people giving me orders have my interests at heart?
Yeah. Or am I just another pawn to get the job done?
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting that they brought Banneker back, so we might be seeing him in present time. I'm kind of getting a weird feeling that he's going to come to present time as a monster or otherwise. And his scene with Ichabod, where he's just like, we find out what the before of that scene was, because we had seen that scene of them outside the Kent before. And then I also think this was an interesting story, because if you think about it, what they did at the end of season 3 was sacrifice Abby, so it's kind of justifying the cost of sacrifices to win the greater ordeal.
Yeah,
and
but at least in that case, Abby knew what was happening.
Yeah,
like
the difference was that she was sacrificing herself.
Yeah,
this was Washington straight up sacrificing Ichabod, one of the witnesses.
Yeah, didn't even let him know, like, the risk or anything. He was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna place you over here, and you might fight somebody important.
You see these Hessians? There's one that's a real big baddie.
You might find him on the battlefield accidentally.
Don't lose your head when you see him. Do you have that Downton Abbey theme song queued up?
Oh.
Let's go ahead and roll it. With the Mac up. There we go. Today on Sleepington Abbey, we learn that George Washington Carver sent one of his best friends to die for the good of the nation.
For the good of peanuts?
Yeah. You like that?
I was like, for the... I heard that Slim Jims were so much better in the 1700s.
I heard that every man, woman, and child who went into the wilderness was trained on the creation of Slim Jims.
Yes, and how to make the best of beef jerky.
With charcoal and chicory and cinnamon.
So tasty yet
So delicious.
so scandalous.
I heard that before Macho Man Randy Savage, Ichabod Crane was the spokesperson for Snap into a Slim
And
Jim.
he would snap it just like this.
I heard that they did not have boysenberry blue blasts back in the 17th century.
Ah, and if they were, they would have been a massive hit.
Massive hit with the
Everyone would have
creation of
loved that.
America.
Yes, so much better than tea at Boston Party.
I heard that the Headless Horseman can't get brain freeze.
Ooh, no, not at all. But he can get full on that, ooh, so delicious Slim Jim.
I heard that at the last Purgatory Prom, Ichabod Crane and one said Headless Horsemen were intermingling their fluids in the back room over some symbols.
Ooh, I heard that Dreyfuss is not against swallowing fluids at all.
Scandalous!
So scandalous. I was wondering about the...
I heard more people are accepting of that in the 21st century as they were in the 17th.
Yes, there seemed to have been a revolution of some sorts, but that was okay.
Protein! Scandalous!
Scandalous.
So scandalous! I heard that
Stop the
innuendo.
music. That's crazy.
I heard that innuendo was the highest form of comedic timing.
Yes.
That does not make sense.
Scandalous.
Um,
Sorry, guys.
I wanna end on that old internet video, Washington, Washington, because I
Yeah.
feel it's appropriate. If you can pull up that song.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen this, everybody, Washington, Washington is this really old internet video that talks about George Washington, and it's just hilarious, and it's like
Yeah.
really badly animated, but
It was the infancy of like, well, not the infancy. Of
it
the
was
internet,
one of
but-
the original. Like, you remember when internet memes were black images, were like images framed by a black border with like text underneath,
Yeah.
and then it just went to people not giving a crap, so they just put text on the image.
Yeah.
Like, it was pre-meme. This is so great. So just, this is the greatness of what George Washington is, and that's why
Yeah.
every time he appears in Sleepy Hollow, I laugh.
6'8", weighs a fucking ton. Opponents beware, opponents beware. He's coming, he's coming, he's coming. Let me lay it on the line. He had two on the vine. I mean, two sets of
Wow,
testicles,
so divine.
Horse made of crystal, he patrolled the land with the mason ring and trouser in his perfect hands.
Here comes George, in control. Women dug his snuff and his gallant stroll.
Ate opponent's brains.
And invented cocaine. He's coming, he's coming, he's coming. Washington, Washington, 6'20", fucking killing for fun. Spread, spread, Delaware. He's coming, he's coming, he's coming.
Wow.
Sue me if I go too fast, but the sons of his opponents wish that he was their dad.
Got a ring for his wig, got a brain
Wow.
for his heart.
He'll kick you apart. He'll kick you apart. Ooh, he'll save children, but not the British children. He'll save children, but not the British children. He'll save children, but not the British children. He'll save children, but not the British children.
If you're not watching this on YouTube, you
Wow.
have to realize that the animation of this
It's incredible.
is just so ridiculous.
It's-
We can fade it out, Mark, but guys, go check it out. Washington, Washington.
The art style is incredible.
Yeah, this is back in the days of 55. Like,
Yeah. This is incredible character design. Almost photorealistic.
Almost photorealistic. What are the people in chat saying, Michael?
Kristen Collins says that Washington sending Crane to die was kind of wrong. Secondhand Joe says travesty. She threw the slushy in the trash after one sip. Blasphemy. Yes, that is blasphemy. I will agree.
True that.
Sissification says he will buy the plot of land that Jenny's secret underground thing is in. So that would kind of work on stealing back the Ghostbuster trap. Pretty much people are just saying, that Dreyfuss will be kind of like a long-term villain now, I guess. You got Kristen Collins, of course, also saying that they thought Dreyfuss would die at some point in the season because magic always comes with a price.
Hey-o.
So yeah, thank you for that one, because that's a good point. Magic does come with a price. So what is going to be the cost of him getting his immortality? Like, what is he going to have to do? Will he be like deformed in some way? Will he have to lose something? Will like family members of his die or something? Like, who knows? But that's interesting, because magic does, you can't just skate free with that immortality.
I know. We even said at the beginning of last episode, the beginning of Full Metal Alchemist, where they talk about the law of equivalent exchange.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, that was the episode. It was a good episode.
Yeah.
We just didn't. It went so fast. There wasn't really that much to really talk about. Which is why we were vamping with Washington. I think next episode will be solely on Molly.
Yeah.
I think at the end of episode 8 is when we're going to see the return of Dreyfuss.
Ooh. I'm interested to see if he's just going to be Weasley or if he's going to be like emboldened or empowered in some way. Now that he has, maybe he's a little bit stronger, or he's a little bit, a little bit wiser.
A little bit wiser now. A little bit wiser now.
But, he has his immortality, so maybe he's a little more bold. Maybe he isn't as Weasley anymore. And maybe he kind of takes charge of some things.
We'll see.
But it will be kind of hard 10, 15 years from now when people are like, you know what, you still look great. Still look great. Still look amazing. Like, I've got tons of wrinkles, but still look great.
Fun fact, this entire season of Sleepy Hollow is based on Keith Richards.
You know what? You start thinking like, yeah, I can see that. It's like, it works. It's a pretty decent parallel.
All right, let's roll us out of here. I think that's the end of the show today.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We had a good one.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
It was a good episode.
I'm interested in next episode. So
I want more good episodes.
Yes, please, more good episodes.
So next week, Molly writes in her book some symbols. She's seeing some visions, and she is chasing after them without talking to her mom, because children going out on their own in the woods is always a good idea.
Yeah.
Never a bad idea.
Not at all.
All right, guys.
Makes for good TV, though.
Where can we find you on Twitter, Mike?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at OneYoungsta, which is ONEYOUNGSTA.
And you can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, STPHENLEMIEUX. Thank you guys for tuning in for Season 4, Episode 6 of Sleepy Hollow. It was a good one. We will see you next week for Episode 7.
It's going to be the bomb. I'm hyped. I'm already ready. Let's do this. Next Sunday.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Snap into a Slim Jim movie, yeah!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.